So let's just get into some of the things, and I'm going to try to be as unbiased as possible. I think I have put one slide that slams allopathic medicine and another one that slams naturopathic medicine. I'm going to treat everybody with the same stuff. Testosterone. So testosterone, low testosterone, we've all heard of it probably. There's commercials on TV, people tell me, although I don't have a TV anymore. Low testosterone is, we're talking about a lot of money. We're talking about testosterone replacement for commercially prepared testosterone is $500–600 a month for the treatment only. A lot of people can get a test of their testosterone, and it will say their testosterone is low. However, testosterone is carried by something in your system called SHBG, sex hormone binding globulin. This is a very important thing interacting with testosterone. So not only do you have to know what your testosterone level is, you need to know what your SHBG is, you need to know what your luteinizing hormone is, which is what your brain tells your testes to do. You need to know what dihydrotestosterone levels are, which is the activated form of testosterone, and you have to have these symptoms, and then at the end of the day, you still don't have a full picture of what is happening, which basically means there is no way you can take a blood sample and know what your body is doing to the testosterone you have. And that is because we're not dealing with just, it doesn't matter what your molecules are, how many molecules you got, because you've got these receptors in your cells, and these molecules have to bind to these receptors in order to make something happen inside your cells. Well, it turns out that sometimes your receptors are shaped like that, where they don't fit this very well. Sometimes they're shaped like that, and they fit this thing well, and everything works like a charm. Well, guess what? We have no way of measuring whether your receptors are like that or like that. And even if we did, we still wouldn't know what was happening inside your cells. Okay, now you got good receptors, they're getting stuff inside the cell, but maybe there's another problem inside your nucleus. Maybe there's another issue going on. We, at this point, do not do much in the way of tissue testing so that we can assess your receptor levels. So basically, what we're looking at is a big unknown. We know a few things in there, but really, we don't know what the symphony is doing. We know a couple of the instruments, we know a couple of the players, we don't know the sound of the whole symphony. It's basically, I don't know, have you read the book? Colin Campbell talks about looking at the elephant with an electron microscope. And if you're looking at this tiny bit of an elephant, you really have no idea what this elephant is all about. You have no idea about its life, about its social interaction. So basically I'm telling you, we don't know everything, but we're trying to sell it. Next. So another issue is about vitamins, and the fact that we take a lot of vitamins, but is there really enough data to convince anyone that they should be taking a vitamin? We have gone through lots of different renditions of this. 10 years ago, you go to your regular doctor, gynecologist, whoever, they say, well, after 50, all women have to take calcium. We take loads of calcium, at some point 2 grams a day. Now we know more than 500 milligrams a day gives you heart attacks, and really doesn't do anything for your bones as far as osteoporosis. And so the American Rheumatology Association withdrew that recommendation a couple of years ago. The main issue I want to bring to your attention is that healthier people do have higher vitamin levels, but that doesn't mean that if you somehow make your vitamin levels higher, you're necessarily going to be healthier. The other issue that always arises with with taking vitamins, if you look at some of the recommendations, how much there is of each vitamin, you got 50 times the vitamin that you should absorb in a 24-hour period going into your stomach with a pill that has maybe a couple of hours of absorption time. So you're expecting to absorb 50 times what you should absorb in 24 hours in 2 to 3 hours. It's really not a good setup. Next.
Yeah, I'm kind of bummed that Ellie and I are falling out, but...
So we have lots of things like this. We find that people who have low vitamin levels are unhealthy, but so are the people who have very high vitamin levels, which can only really result as a result of supplementation. There's really not any food you could eat that would give you this level of these vitamins. So some of the things you may not know: multivitamins increase breast cancer rate by 19%. They alter your intestinal bacteria in unpredictable ways. And so one of the things, I actually learned this last night. I was watching this documentary on PBS, and I didn't realize this, but 1/3 of milk is, of mother's milk, is something that has no nutritional value for the baby. 1/3. Why would that make any sense? 1/3 of your milk should be dedicated to something that has absolutely no benefit for the baby, at least that we know of. Well, they looked at this, and something else I didn't know about mother's milk: it changes over time. The vitamins and nutrients change from the first month to the second to the whatever. And so the oligosaccharide, which is a bunch of sugars tied together in a chain, which composes about 1/3 of what's in mother's milk, is meant for the bacteria in the intestines. So it carries sugars that only certain types of bacteria can break down. And these would be the good bacteria in our intestines. And so I want to just take this opportunity to say, maybe you should take nature's solution if you want to improve your intestinal bacteria, and by not taking probiotics, which may not be very effective, but it's much more effective, I think, to take prebiotics, which are basically sugars that your body cannot absorb, that are meant to improve the good bacteria in your intestines. So things like xylitol, chicory root, inulin, lactulose. These would be prebiotics that I think would be very helpful, and not taking the probiotics, which are probably destroyed in your intestines and really don't stay in your intestinal tract very next. Okay, fat-soluble vitamins. Another thing which is big these days is to take fat-soluble vitamins, which doesn't make sense in a way because they store in your body. And there's some pretty good evidence that they don't do a whole lot for you by supplementation, and that they can be harmful. And the thing to recognize about the fat-soluble vitamins, besides the fact that they stay in your body, is that they're really not one substance. Vitamin A is a whole bunch of different substances, naturally. And if we start taking only one vitamin A, one type of it, we don't know what we're missing from those other vitamin A's that we're trying to get out of their own natural metabolism. The same with vitamin D, which I just read a study recently, a pretty big study, that showed it has no effect on osteoporosis. Vitamin E, which was touted as having a lot of benefits and so on, definitely increases prostate cancer. And K2, which is in a lot of more recent supplements for osteoporosis, has fantastic data on how it affects osteoporosis in fishing villages in Japan, but does nothing when you do the studies in America, because fishing villages in Japan maybe don't have as much greens in their diet as they should. They eat sushi 3 times a day. And when you give them something that comes from green leafy plants, well, they do better. But people who have normal diets don't. And that's something that that again, you should be very aware of when you look at any studies, any information out there, is who is the population that these people are studying. Because this becomes the easiest way to lie with statistics in medical statistics, is to take the population that you want to give you the answer you're looking for. Next.